This is a true herbal extract with all the medicinal components intact. A product you can trust to be authentic. And since there is no wholesaler, it's at a price you can afford. Try it at Lowry Drug on Hartness Road in Statesville.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Welcome to Community Centered. Margie, happy sunny Tuesday. How are you?
Well, I'm so glad I got over that infectious disease you gave me.
Awesome. The cure is smiles and lots of hope.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're all about.
That's what we're all about, putting hope back in the headline and giving folks something to smile about. So if you're driving around today and you have something you want to smile about or something you have hopeful to say, call the studio at 844-STUDIO-4 and talk to Margie and I and our guest today. What's new?
Well, it was funny. I was telling my doctor we went to one of my neighbor's funerals.
Oh.
And I told him that I was getting over a very infectious disease. And he pulled over and he said, "Why didn't you call me?" And I said, "It was too contagious. I didn't want to give it to you." And he said, "What was it?" And I said, "It's called cicadas disease." And he looked at me and he said, "There's a joke here." And I said, "Yeah, I'm sick of this and I'm sick of that."
You know, it has been a week between the solar eclipse, the full moon, Mercury in retrograde. I don't know what else can get thrown at us for sure, but it's been a little intense. And excuse me, we're hoping to wind down here in the next couple of days.
So have the kids been a little
bit antsy. I think the cooler weather, contributed to that. Kids got a little bit.
It was 80 and then it was like 40.
It was crazy. It was really, really cold. And then we had that cold weather. And so,
rain and
cooped up inside, not a good combo for,
No.
Kids out there and spring and allergies, all that good stuff. But you know what? We're still making it happen. It's all good.
Well, my car isn't quite as yellow as it was.
I think we're winding down, I hope. Although today I feel like I have a little something going on in my
throat. You have a new disease going on.
I have allergies today. I am certain of it. Either that or I've been talking way too much this morning. A lot of people that were at Hope House and a lot of giving tours. And I went actually out to the new builds that we're building.
Oh, and I promised to help you with that. So
and
I need to get there.
Nothing was happening over there, which was kind of nice. So I had the place to myself, both places. And there's a lot of dust and, allergy type stuff going on over there. But we're making progress, and
that's where you like to go hide.
Yeah, no one will know I'm there. And there's a porta potty. Perfect. What else could I possibly need? It's all good. But yeah, Journey and Courage are on their way, and it won't be long before we'll be moving somebody in there.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I know. I am.
You are really making a difference.
I feel really blessed. I feel really blessed to be able to do this and to continue to have the community support on making hope happen, and to know that the impact when I was walking there today and kind of touching the walls and saying, I imagine the amount of families whose life are going to get impacted by having a stable place to live. And so,
I feel badly for the people who don't do a nonprofit or volunteer work, because when you go touch a life,
absolutely,
that is in such dire need,
absolutely.
It's life-changing.
It's such a feel-good moment. It really and truly is. And to know that, I get to do that every day, and I know you feel the same way about your non-for-profit, is we are, there's always hope. Yeah. There's always hope. It's something.
It takes so little to put a smile on a face.
Yeah, you don't even have to really look hard to find it. It's in our community, and we have many amazing, generous folks like our guest today that I'm anxious to talk to and meet and get to know his why he wants to make hope happen,
and he got us going.
Yeah, why he wants to put smiles on people's faces. There's, these are hard times for a lot of folks, and a lot of people are still looking for the negative. And I think what we need to be aware of is there's so many uncontrollable things that are happening right now. And my advice to folks is just try to control the controllables. That's all we need to do is stay in our own lane and control the things that are in front of us that we can control. Because when we start taking on the out of control things is when we're going to get into trouble. So that's just my little words of wisdom to pass by
Well,
you.
I've stopped listening to the news all the time,
Yeah,
too.
that's probably a good plan. Sometimes when I get super overwhelmed by things, my daughter will call me and say, "Mom, go touch grass."
Yeah.
So going and touching grass is a good way to just ground yourself and
Yes.
center yourself. And
They've
you-
always said that.
we've talked many times
Yeah.
on this show about self-care, taking care of ourselves as we do this work, and it's really important. And I think now more than ever that we're getting our gas tanks filled back up with the things, because if we're the admins of Hope and Smiles, we have to be able to
Yeah.
have enough to share with
Yes.
folks. So excited to do that. So what else is going
So,
on?
what fills your tank up?
Oh my. Um my family, my
Yeah,
friends,
yeah.
my hope,
Yeah.
the good in the world, the beautiful nature, things like that. We live near the lake, the water, sunsets, all of that. Every time I see a sunset, I always think, boy, good thing tomorrow's a do-over,
Yeah.
right? We get a
yeah.
new opportunity every day. So,
But
God,
family is such a blessing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, we think of our Hope House family too as family,
Yes.
and every day, adding more folks to our family and giving folks that opportunity is what really inspires me and motivates me to keep going, because I see the success.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I see the success, and that's, I just want to keep pouring more into them. So
Mhm.
excited about that. What gives you hope? What fills you up, Margie?
Seeing a child smile
Mm-hmm.
and being happy for maybe even just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And our guest today, the last treat he gave us was to do a video for us. And we did that video on Tori, who
Oh, right.
was had stage 4 cancer.
Mhm.
You talk about filling your tank up.
Mm.
You talked to her, and she was just still so grateful for everything she had.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Amazing. So,
Right up until the very end.
so are you saying, in other words, that our guest is a hope maker?
He's many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what he says he's going to do, he does.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Imagine
Yeah.
a community or more folks like that throughout our world that
Mhm.
that want to make that difference for no self gain at
That's
all.
right.
Just do it just because.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be looking for, more of that.
That's why he's here today.
Fabulous. Well,
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear his story. I can't wait to learn more. And again, if you have a question or you have a suggestion, you can call 844-STUDIO-4.
Or if you'd like to donate some money.
There's always that. That's always very, very hopeful. I mean, helpful, hopeful. Either one of those. That's always something that's really important too. But I'm gonna look forward to seeing what he has to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing his intro when we come back. But anything awesome you want to leave us with in this little opening segment?
Well, just as you know, it was the anniversary of my
Mhm.
husband's a
Passing.
year.
Mhm.
And I'm very proud of myself
You
for
should
getting
be.
through it as well as I did.
As well as I am, Margie. It is a
Yeah.
journey. You never get over
Yeah.
it. You go around it.
But you know what? If you look again at the blessings,
That's right. That's
and
right.
it just I'm amazed as the
Some-
years we had and the wonderful times we had.
Somehow getting to that
Yeah.
first year is a huge
I
milestone.
know.
And I'm very, very proud of you on the way that you handled it so graciously and with love and, of course, your Margie spirit.
Yep.
So when we come back, we'll be introducing you to our guest today on Community Centered. I'm Debbie O'Hanley and my friend Margi Kyle. We'll be back.
More informative discussion about people and groups doing good in our community coming up. It's Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC.
We have had a string of days with below normal temperatures, but the good news today, I think we'll finally warm to right where we need to be this time of the year, as temperatures for your Tuesday climb into the low 70s, around 73 degrees this afternoon. We'll see a few clouds mix in late in the day. They'll be on the increase overnight tonight as well, as temperatures fall into the low 50s, much warmer than we were last night. We'll see breezy conditions for your Wednesday as temperatures climb to the mid-70s. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Daniel Cruz.
Listen, save, Enjoy the WSIC app, available now in your app store.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Start your weekend unwinding with a live musical performance by the Allison Rose Duo at Birkdale Village's Live Under the Oaks. This free event gets underway at 6 p.m., so grab your friends and family and get ready to dance the night away. Karen Morgan brings her clean stand-up comedy to the Kane Center for the Arts on Friday night. Her funny, sentimental stories and conversational delivery connect quickly with audiences. The doors open at 7 p.m. and the laughs begin at 8 p.m. For more information on this show and many other programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The annual Mooresville Day Festival showcases local art, food, and entertainment on Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. Enjoy the best cuisine from local food trucks and downtown eateries, as well as experience live performances, music, and activities that promise to keep the atmosphere lively and engaging. See you in downtown Mooresville on Saturday. Join the area's premier arts and music festival, the Taba Walk, on Saturday from 2 to 8 p.m. The festivities include 2 stages of live bands, over 100 local craftsmen and vendors, plus craft breweries, food courts, kid zones, and much more. The main stage will be powered by Waves Entertainment. Gather your crew in Old Town Cornelius for the return of the lake's most action-packed community festival on Saturday, the Taba Walk. Merle Fest is back April 25th through 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Now, more community-centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. If you have a question or a comment after I introduce our guest, which I know you will, please call 844-STUDIO-4. It is an honor, a pleasure to meet and introduce to you Dale Gilmore. Oh yes, applause. Bring it on. He has earned it. He has earned it. I started Little Smiles about 12 years ago, and I made a promise to all the nurses, and I thought, how am I going to keep this? Because we literally had no money. And we got a grant from Make an Impact, filled it out, and I was blown away when you came in my kitchen with that check for $11,000.
Margi, I'm curious, what was your grant for? As a startup, what was the thing that you asked for?
I wanted money to be able to go and buy technology, birthday parties, character visits, whatever the nurses felt those kids needed to put a smile on their face while they were in the hospital, hospice, or in, health care.
Okay.
And I was getting all these calls, and we delivered 20 pizzas, and my husband finally said after the first month, okay, thou.
That's awesome.
You cannot make any money this year because we don't want to pay any money on taxes. Mm-hmm. I think my profit was like $21 or something.
Oh my goodness.
So when Dale came with a check for $11,000, that meant we could really, what I had promised we could now deliver.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it was talking about Tori. Mm-hmm. She wanted to go to High Point to the Miss Teen, North Carolina Teen pageant.
Okay.
And so I called the pageant, and she said, yes, I've told you that it's $3,000. And I said, and I've told you I'm a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And that's a little too high. So I told her my story again, and she said, can you pay $150? I went, oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So her family could go. I could buy her a dress.
I bet you felt like her fairy godmother.
She just changed my life.
Yeah.
She changed everybody she touched.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that's when you know you're doing your job. Mm-hmm. And I know for Dale, that's when he knew he was doing his job
Mm-hmm.
when he did that recording for us and could see the impact that we had on one child. And I used to be proud saying, we're helping over 500 children. Now it's 100 to 500 a month.
It's crazy.
So we've grown because he had the confidence in what we were doing.
Yeah.
And wanted to help. So I can't wait for our audience to meet you, Dale. You are an amazing man, founder, chairman of Make an Impact. And that's only one thing you do, but let's talk about Make an Impact first. What was your dream?
Well, when we started the foundation, I kind of think about the roots of it, right? So we were a CPA firm. We were growing fast. There was a lot going on. And I always felt like once I got to a place where I had achieved my life's goals, which you would think that I would set them higher, but that I would try to figure out a way to give back to unfortunate kids or create lanes of opportunity for kids. It was always sort of something like that made sense for me. We as an organization at the time also we were writing checks for plenty of things and golf tournaments and things, and we also felt like we weren't part of it. And I had spent some time at a large Big Four firm. I won't say their name so that it doesn't sound like I'm picking on them, but where I would get a phone call and there would be a request, you're at a certain level and you need to make this donation. And then I would be like, okay, well, it came out of my paycheck, but could I come and volunteer or be involved? And it was almost like told, their fundraising campaigns were good and we had to make those donations. And so all of this stuff was kind of swirling in my head. And I grew up poor. And so, I set my goals pretty basic. I just wanted a stable life with a white picket fence and a decent job. It was kind of what my goals were. And so I achieved those goals, pretty young and felt like, well, now what? I have to reset. I got to do, what are my new goals?
Yeah.
So the charity kind of mentally became alive, even though we hadn't founded it yet. So anyway, in 2010, we founded the charity, and like any good group of accountants, we said, well, geez, I don't, not exactly sure what we need to do here. We weren't clear on our specific thing. What we were clear on is kids and families. So what we did was, which has kind of evolved how our organization is today, is we basically took the definition of a 501c3 and added, projects that benefit kids and families, which gave us this super broad kind of base. Mm-hmm. And then our mission really became, and that's why we're sort of a platform today where we partner with other charities. We partner with corporations that want to be more charitable and create more of a systematic charitable lane. When we partner on community projects to co-fundraise and execute and get them done. And if the other thing that's unique is if someone in our organization has really a thing for kids with cancer, or somebody else has a thing for, kids that just grew up poor and just need a chance to sort of find themselves in music or some other thing. Everybody's got their own kind of personal bends and passions. And I just never really cared for the corporate environment and the way it used to drive people to just give and not really, to me, it's the volunteerism, time, money, and the fulfillment is being part of the project. Yeah. And you don't always get you don't get fulfilled every single time when you're not part of the project. Sometimes you have to do things in a way you're just writing a check. That happens. And, but we couldn't touch as many lives. I mean, at some point, it's got to be bigger than you. And so all of this is bigger than all of us. And the needs for, people to sort of believe in themselves and take the next step in life, I always say, if people that grow up in poverty are telling themselves no, they can't all the time. It's just in their head. And, those that didn't grow up that way can do so much for the people that did grow up that way. And, just getting somebody to establish confidence in themselves to know that they can be productive citizens in life or find a career path or, to me, that's our society's job. And you can't rely on the government, not being anti-government here, but you can't rely on the government to sort of create confidence in a poor kid's future.
That's right.
You can't.
Yeah.
The only people that can do that is the community. And sometimes those communities that have those kids, they just need, a lane of opportunity. And if we can kind of keep working
like
that.
You just go out and find a hole and fill it. With a playground. Yeah,
well, there's structure, but we like to be in color. We're the red tape cutters. We don't want red tape. We want to see what the opportunity is. How can we organize as a collective? So we need a project champion who is the person with the heart, and in your case, it was you, Margie, in the early days, right? And we need a donor champion, which is potentially the key donor for that project so that could be our corporation that's consistent, or that could be a one-time donor for a playground or a basketball court or whatever it is we're doing. And then the third leg is really the collaboration with the community and all the people involved, because if we're building at a church, we might need the church involved. If it's government property, we might need the mayor and the council people involved. If it's, it's touching any and all necessary to keep that hope or that project alive. And that's it. And so we have kind of a systematic kind of community project bucket, and we have a systematic corporate, we call it My Corporate Impact, for corporations that want to sustain a program, create a volunteer program for their team. Maybe they do payroll deductions. Maybe they just depends on their situation. We are teammates with, I'll just give a Cat and Landon Eccles a plug here. They're founders of Clean Juice here locally.
Okay.
They have a program called Quarters for Kids, and we help them deploy the quarters they receive at the register to the franchise owners across the country in their projects to serve kids. And that's sort of but we become a unique platform that allows a lot of things to happen in an easier way. Somebody doesn't have to go create their own charity if they don't want.
Right.
Or if they already have one and it's like, hey, this is a bigger effort and we need to tag team this effort, we do that. We run our charity lean as we can. Where 90 cents goes to the most important piece.
Right. Yeah.
A couple people on a website, we say, is our generic term. We got to get them paid for. And
where are you located?
We're above the Flatiron Grill in downtown Davidson. Quietly is where headquarters is, but really
you're all over.
Yeah, I mean it's we're where our clients and our donors are donating, and where our projects need to be projected.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's a word, since we're ranking up words around here.
I love that you said time and talent, because that's something we talk about at Hope House, right? You might not be able to give your treasure, but your time and talent is equally as valuable to be able to come and serve.
More.
And absolutely. Yeah. Even the children that have the little lemonade stands and show up with $5.47, that's making an impact, because we can turn around and do something with that. So I want to hear more about that when we come back from our break, on how you are making an impact and what some of those projects have been, and ways folks can get involved if they want to. We would love for you to give your contact information and how people can reach out, because I'm hearing about it. I want to make an impact. I mean, even though we already do, I want to make another one. So when we get back, we'll talk more with Dale.
There's more Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
We have had a string of days with below normal temperatures, but the good news today, I think we'll finally warm to right where we need to be this time of the year, as temperatures for your Tuesday climb into the low 70s, around 73 degrees this afternoon. We'll see a few clouds mix in late in the day. They'll be on the increase overnight tonight as well, as temperatures fall into the low 50s, much warmer than we were last night. We'll see breezy conditions for your Wednesday as temperatures climb to the mid-70s. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Daniel Cruz.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Little Shavers Wood Shop and Building Supply is your one-stop source for winter electric and torpedo heaters, heat lamps, pine and cedar shavings, ice melt, and snow sleds. Plus, year-round items including PPG paints and stains, tools for plumbing and heating, and automotive supplies. Over 55,000 warehouse products available. You'll find Little Shavers on Facebook and online at littleshavers.com. That's LILshavers.com.
Are you in constant pain, under constant stress? Just need a moment away? Repeat after me. Serenity Now Massage Therapy. SerenityNowMassageandWellness.com with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple holding a product launch event May 7th where it's expected to unveil the newest line of iPads and accessories. Meantime, sales of the Apple iPhone in China tumbling 19% in the first quarter of this year. That's after Beijing's crackdown on U.S. tech imports. On Wall Street, stocks are seeing some pretty sizable gains today after strong earnings reports and in anticipation of even more from big-name tech earnings in the coming days. That starts with Tesla coming after the closing bell today. Right now, the Dow is up 0.7%. The NASDAQ up nearly 2%. The S&P 500 more than 1% higher. The Federal Trade Commission is suing to stop the $8.5 billion merger that would join luxury brands like Coach, Kate Spade, and Stuart Weitzman with Michael Kors, Versace, and Jimmy Choo. They said it'll just cost consumers more. And the Shake Shack chain will have avocado sommeliers at select locations later this week to help diners select the perfect avocado for their burgers. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Community Centered continues now. Here are your hosts, Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Community Centered. I'm your host, Debbie O'Hanley, and my friend Margi Kyle are here chatting with Dale. You know, we always say this during the break. We get some of the best stuff that during that time when we talk. But I'm just curious, what does that word impact mean to you?
You know, we think about kids, and you've got your own. I've got 3 daughters. I feel like we also have other kids that maybe don't have 2 parents, or maybe they don't have the yellow brick road of Lake Norman to drive on.
Yeah.
And they don't have, you know, the extra teachers at home and after school. And they don't have the gifts. So I feel like, at the very least, as a society, I feel like we need to do a +1. You got 3 kids, maybe there's 3 other kids you can support.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of unique, individual impact. And then when we look at our projects, we try to look at, certainly there's the one-off things where it's like we help that one family do that one thing, and that's super impactful for that one family. But we also look at projects, could we benefit, how many kids could we benefit by building this? That's how we pick our playground sites when we're asked to build a playground. Is there a playground desert? How many kids will this touch if we put that playground there?
Right. Yeah.
So that's one of the things. So trying to touch as many as you can. So making an impact is compounding your effort. If I spend $1, is it worth $100? Which I've got a little math, sheet somewhere I could send you guys that shows, a study we did on how just impacting one young person's life and keeping that system in place for them to have the social capital they need to be productive citizens in society and access to education and mental health support and all the things that get them kind of through life because they needed an extra hand. For every $1 spent, typically it's $130 or $40 of society's savings to serve these kids.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter whether it's through your organization and your Hope House kids or your organization and the Little Smiles kids you're touching. We're all doing that. That's that right. Number isn't unique to me, or it's a societal number if you look at, incarceration and cyclicality and, so I always say don't just think of the charitable donation you make. Think about that impact to society, and potentially, if we do it right, I mean, those that are worried about paying taxes long term, if we can make an impact there, perhaps there's less taxes to pay because we don't have to support prisons and things like that, right? So
amazing.
Good point.
Great point. What are some of the projects you've done?
Yes, so we've done tons of projects. I just sort of did a little math over the years. Since 2010, we've funded over $5 million, 5-point-something million in projects.
That's impressive.
Yes, it is.
And just looking at 24, I was telling Margie before the call, we had COVID was not friendly to our organization, just like others. But prior to COVID, we had 1 year we eclipsed $1 million of projects just before COVID, and now we're kind of making our way back to that day. But we did over 700,000 last year in 24. We partnered on 45 different projects, which included 45 nonprofit partners. With 75,000 volunteer hours, and we measured about 15,000 lives impacted in 24 with our work. And anyway, but the kinds of projects, and we our community engagement projects. We've got a kind of a partnership lane with Playground Company, and we have been working on those partnerships with donors across the country to serve playground builds. We built a playground last year in Las Vegas. We built one in Boston, and the year before we built one up at Stumpy Creek. If anybody's familiar with the Brody Thompson Foundation, we partnered with them to build a playground in Mooresville. We built one during COVID, even though nothing was happening during COVID. We built one during COVID at Huntington Green and partnered with Caterpillar Ministries.
Right. Beautiful.
So,
that's just something you take for granted.
Yeah.
But if you don't have one near you,
they didn't have a playground in that Huntington Green community that's sort of isolated by itself. So we built a little soccer field, put up the basketball goals, and built a little playground.
Yeah.
Right next to the little church area where they serve the kids. So
letting kids be kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are that's our community project work, and then our corporate project support, which are platform there. We've done all kinds of things. We carriages for disabled kids so that they could run in races with their parents. We've done kind of books for kids that don't have access to enough books. And we've done different things with different, other nonprofits. We bought, a family of like 10 could never drive in a car together. and we bought basically a handicap access van,
Yeah.
so that the whole family, for the first time in their entire life, could jump in a van and go to dinner together in one car.
Mm.
And
I think so. We
that's
just
pretty
take
blessing,
for granted, don't
you know.
we? Yeah.
So it's, the projects are always a little different. The main platform is, we need a donor champion, which sometimes are our My Corporate Impact partners that are trying to do a lot of good for their team and in the community. It could be a church or a town or, somebody else driving the donor side. But every single time there's a passionate person that is a leader in the community that is really trying to get something done. And sometimes they're the ones that need the funding, but it ends up working after. And then there's a collaborative piece, which is, what's the project look like? What's the budget? How are we fundraising for it? How many lives are going to be impacted? Who will benefit from this?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's different reasons for different people on why they donated. And sometimes it's passionately donating, and other times it's, creating a system for their employees to generate a positive culture within the corporation. And the passion sometimes shows up later, and light bulbs come on after. And it's like, I'm so glad we did this. And this, to me, the beauty of seeing something start and something move further and leaving something better than you found it, which is, something that's personal to me. Deborah and Allie and our team deserve all the credit in the world for all the work they're doing. And Deborah leads My Corporate Impact, and Allie leads our community engagement projects. And
how would they people get a hold of them?
Yeah, so D McKee, DMCKEE at makeanimpactnow.org.
Okay.
Is D McKee, MCKEE at makeanimpactnow.org is Deborah's email address.
Yes.
And we also partner with other charities. So, if the charities have started fundraising something and they feel like they need project execution, that's what we're good at. We organize a project, we build a budget, and then we co-fundraise together with the team, and we get projects done. And that's the fun part. There's always we can't do this alone as a community. We need each other. I need Margie, and I need Deborah, and I need Allie, and I need, we need each other. And those kids at Hope House and the kids at the Levine's, Children's Hospital, or the Jeff Gordon's, all the hospitals that you serve, those are that's where they're at. And so we got to go find the kids where they're at and help them.
And, the thing that I want to comment on about that is hope is something, it's an emotion that we give away, right? So when you know that there's a child in Margie's care that needs our hope, we can freely give that. And if hope looks like, well, and let me help you with a pizza party or something like that, that was no big deal. You offered something that someone needed in a time when they didn't have any. So hope is free to give away to most folks, and that encouragement and that impact that you make is so long lasting, and it leaves such an impression that it's written in indelible ink for our families and our kids in our community that are going to benefit from someone as generous and gracious as you, Dale. I am super impressed to hear about the impact that you're making, because it's all about our kids. All of them that are in all of these different situations throughout our community, throughout our world, need our help and our hope. So thank you for that. And when we come back, we're going to be talking more.
Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
We have had a string of days with below normal temperatures, but the good news today, I think we'll finally warm to right where we need to be this time of the year, as temperatures for your Tuesday climb into the low 70s, around 73 degrees this afternoon. We'll see a few clouds mix in late in the day. They'll be on the increase overnight tonight as well, as temperatures fall into the low 50s, much warmer than we were last night. We'll see breezy conditions for your Wednesday as temperatures climb to the mid-70s. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Daniel Cruz.
Here is your WSIC Community Calendar. Start your weekend unwinding with a live musical performance by the Allison Rose Duo at Birkdale Villages Live Under the Oaks. This free event gets underway at 6 p.m., so grab your friends and family and get ready to dance the night away. Karen Morgan brings her clean stand-up comedy to the Kane Center for the Arts on Friday night. Her funny, sentimental stories and conversational delivery connect quickly with audiences. The doors open at 7 p.m. and the laughs begin at 8 p.m. For more information on this show and many other programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The annual Mooresville Day Festival showcases local art, food, and entertainment on Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. Enjoy the best cuisine from local food trucks and downtown eateries, as well as experience live performances, music, and activities that promise to keep the atmosphere lively and engaging. See you in downtown Mooresville on Saturday. Join the area's premier arts and music festival, the Taba Walk, on Saturday from 2 to 8 p.m. The festivities include 2 stages of live bands, over 100 local craftsmen and vendors, plus craft breweries, food courts, kid zones, and much more. The main stage will be powered by Waves Entertainment. Gather your crew in Old Town Cornelius for the return of the lake's most action-packed community festival on Saturday, the Taba Walk. Merle Fest is back April 25th through 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle at 844-STUDIO-4. It's community-centered on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back. We are thrilled to have you back with Dale Gilmore, Make an Impact. And Dale, I think we need to give them a phone number too where they could contact you.
Yeah, I gave you Deborah's email. I'm going to give you Allie's phone number. So
Okay.
Deborah's got the email. Allie's phone number is 540-641-2462. And Allie is the director of community engagement and community projects. So.
And what was that number one more time?
540-641-2462.
Okay.
And I understand you stand corrected on a number you threw out.
Yeah.
there.
I said 5.2-ish, and I got a text that it was 5.5-ish.
Oh, don't you hate when that happens? You have to be corrected on the good that you're doing. Amazing, amazing. Just a quick thing that we want to mention here for you, those of you that listen, we want you to download the WSIC News app today. It's available on your iOS and Google Play. You'll get all the news, everything that you need on the WSIC News app. Yes.
Okay.
And if you missed Margie and I live in Dale, you would be able to listen to the replay on that. So that's a pretty awesome technology and thing that we have new to announce here. Dale, amazing, amazing work that you are doing. You are the king of hope makers for sure, but you also seem to be really humble about it. And I love that your beginnings or where you're coming from motivates you to see the difference that you can make and the impact that you can have on children. I know at Hope House, we sometimes focus on the mom because of the crisis, and the kids didn't ask for this. So, you know, they sort of like drag along, right? And we're trying to think about the ways that this experience, we want Hope House when they're there to look like anyone's home. Like they live here. This is their home. They're not in a shelter. And, you know, those are the kind of things that you think about when children are growing up in their development. Like obviously an impression was made on you where from a youngster you wanted to make a difference.
Yeah.
And you're doing that. And I just want to applaud you and congratulate you on that, because that's sometimes can be a mountain and it looks like you've scaled it. So thank you for what you're doing for our kids and our community.
Truly living his passion and purpose.
I'm applaud you.
Thanks. I tell you, when kids are growing up, they often have very positive memories of their childhood, and things seem very normal to them that aren't normal to others. And I would just say that I was no different. There was a lot of love in my family, despite, the lack of normalness, if you will. But when you look back on things and you realize that, hey, there was this other kid that I knew that was really smart, but he didn't make it out of the neighborhood, or this happened to him, or, and you would just, I'm like, oh, I remember he was like almost an all A student, but yet, didn't, turn into a productive citizen in life. And all of my view on things are very hindsight, very, Monday morning quarterback, if you will, that I can see it. But while I was growing up, I didn't see any of that. I didn't.
Right.
You don't have an experience. That's why travel is a huge deal for me, like for kids, because if they know their neighborhood, they know their neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's all they know.
That's right.
And they don't even know. I mean, internet might feel like it's taking them to other places, but it's taking them. It's not physical. It's not real. It's not cultural. It's not.
Well, they're not experiencing it.
Yeah. So
I think about the impact too that you're making on your own family. You said before you had 3 teenage and young daughters, and I think about a dad that would do something like that. What a role model you are for them. And I'm curious, are any of them interested in making an impact?
Yeah, that's interesting. When they were younger, we were participating in a program that I still believe exists today, Y Guides through the YMCA, and it was kind of a daddy-daughter thing.
And you did a lot for Little Smiles for that.
Yeah, so we would do kind of community projects, and then we'd come help Margie with some things, and we would do things with the girls. We kind of did it through the Y, but also we did our own. We used to do a little food drive every year for Ada Jenkins. We'd go get our slips from Ada Jenkins, and then we would go put our table in front of the 2 or 3 places that would let us, and then eventually they wouldn't let us for whatever corporate reason, and so we would slide down Rack Room Shoes, and not to give them a plug, but we used to go park in front of their place because they were fine with it.
Yeah.
But we would catch people going into Target and give them their slip, and they'd come out and give us their stuff, and then we take it over to the Ada Jenkins Center, and we're not doing that anymore. I mean, I wish we were. Anybody could do it. Ada Jenkins Center has all these slips. Anybody could do it. You don't have to. That's the other thing about charity. You don't have to ask permission. You can just go do it. You can just go do it, and plenty of people will give you the tools. And Ada Jenkins Center is an example. So there's that. The kids, they're always different. I feel like it's silly to say, but my girls were raised here in Lake Norman, and they're still sheltered from the realness of things. And I hope that maybe I got through to them, and I hope that as they get older, they start to really understand. But I feel like there's some experiences they just haven't experienced yet.
But I was so proud to see your youngest playing the guitar, singing.
Yeah, she's sweet. She's super sweet.
But I think about that when you said like you're experiencing growing up, you didn't realize, how you were being raised. There was still love there, and the way they're being raised to make an impact is their normal, right? That's just what you do, and what fine citizens and adults they're going to make because that's what they grew up with.
Well, and Dale would bring them with all these goodie bags for kids who had nothing.
Oh, that's so wonderful. It really is. You're making good citizens out of them. And it's tough on our kids these days. And, growing up in the bubble that we call this lovely Lake Norman community, sometimes we have to step outside of that, right? To see the reality of some of the things that are actually happening. But what a wonderful takeaway to know that there's some kids in our community that are being raised right.
Yes.
You may see one of mine this weekend at the Taba Walk because she needs service hours, and so we're going to make her run our booth.
Okay. All right, then. That is awesome. That's a great negotiating tool, too, for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I love that. I love thinking, I can hear happy children on playgrounds, especially in our Huntington Green community where you said you made some hope happen there, right? You made an impact there.
Yes.
I know that community, and I know how needed that was.
Just a quick extra special, Deborah made that happen in the middle of COVID, and she was going to make it happen no matter what, and we did it. We didn't do it our normal way, and we just did it, and I was super proud of her for making sure that happened.
You
with
have a
COVID.
great team. You have
That's
a
an
great
outside
team.
activity, right? You didn't need to worry about being indoors or,
Getting
around.
people to volunteer was a sticky thing.
Yeah.
We had some great community partners to get kids access to technology so they could get online and do the
Yeah.
teacher stuff, but we couldn't get volunteers. Volunteers were really, really tough during COVID because of the situations
Yeah.
that people were
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Our normal volunteers were, dealing with things that impacted their ability to volunteer.
Yeah, we had that same situation because we were an essential, right? We had to stay open, but we couldn't get any help. So it was up to the staff to pick up where volunteers
Yeah.
really carry a heavy load for us. And we were also under construction during that time, building 3 cottages. So, we got creative, and I'm sure you did too, with how we reached the masses.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure you did too.
Yep.
Margie, I'm sure that you saw the impact of that. So fortunately, we are
Well, we
past
couldn't
that.
go to the hospitals and deliver the
No,
things.
no.
So good old Amazon just delivered it to
Yeah.
the nurses.
We used a
Absolutely.
lot of Amazon plans
Yeah.
too. So, yep.
There's a lot of good things that we learned about COVID. A lot of good it left us with, a lot of bad, but we're going to focus on the hopeful things.
Yeah.
For sure. So what's next?
Well, just totally grateful for what you've done for our community. I don't think people realize what an impact you have made. It was amazing to me when I started Little Smiles. One of the volunteers came up and said, "Oh, don't you worry, we got this covered. You need to meet Dale Gilmore and make an impact." And I was blown away when we wrote out that request, and we went out on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went out on the boat, and you gave us the news
Yeah, I
that we
forgot about
were
that.
we were the recipients of a beautiful check, and I mean that just started my dream and helped so many kids with their dreams, and that's what you're really all about. And I think you took a situation that when you were growing up, you didn't want others to have. And so you made a difference. And same with me when I was in the hospital for that year, and then my son broke his neck and he was in the hospital. A ceiling in a hospital is very boring. And, it was my goal to do anything I could to change that for another child, and that's exactly what you've done.
I'm thinking of something, Margie. When you give someone like you and you make an impact on a Margie, imagine what gasoline that looks like. I mean,
It's huge.
it absolutely motivates you. It
Yes.
absolutely brings you, it's such a joy to be able to do that. And I think of not only where you're impacting children and people's lives, but yours as well, as someone that could, be the difference maker and be the one that got to see that impact happen.
Well, I had the fortune of growing up with Carol Burnett's real sister.
Oh.
And meeting Carol Burnett.
Oh, I didn't know this.
And I asked her, we went out for lunch one day, and I said, "What's your biggest piece of information you could give me?" And she said, "Always associate with somebody better than you."
Oh, wow. Wow.
And, it's so true because that's what she did.
Absolutely. Give you something to strive for.
Yeah.
Well, Dale, I want to thank you for what you've done for our community, what you've done for our kids, what you've done for people like my friend Margie. I'm delighted to have got to meet you and hear about your foundation and your organization, and I'm going to encourage you to just keep on making more impact.
Yeah,
Oh, he
thanks,
will.
Thanks for having me. You guys
Absolutely.
are making a ton of impact, so I appreciate being here.
Thank you.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.